Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
College football is in full swing. Welcome to Friday. The storm about to hit. Oh, man, are we going to have some fun. Vols lived up to the billing last night. Excellent games all over the place. The backyard brawl was entertaining. Purdue, gosh, they could have beaten Penn State. They just mismanaged time in about the worst way that they possibly could. That was too bad. And we've got to start thinking about Memphis and Mississippi State. Of course, you'll enjoy Ole Miss and Troy right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM tomorrow as well. All right, I just saw, this makes me so happy. On Twitter, they just showed me Memphis's uniform. They had Quindell Johnson walking out of the woods. I can read the numbers, J-Mo. Good morning.
That's the most important part, right, is you need the contrast between the number and the jersey. But nowadays, that's not a guarantee. So.
Oh, no. Memphis is notorious for not being able to read the numbers, especially from 17 stories high at the Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. How long do you think it'll take us to really get that to flow?
It'll be like Memphis State. It'll take like 15, 20 years or something like that.
I hope it doesn't take that long. I really do not. Busy show today. We make our Memphis picks, so we'll talk a little bit about this game first. We will do that, and then we will talk high school football because it's week 3. Glenn Rogers Jr. will join us for that, and then the debut, and normally he's going to be on Mondays, but we were able to lure out of retirement, I mean, I cannot tell you how much money this is costing, John Thompson, former coach all over the place, defensive coordinator at many stops, and, of course, head coach of East Carolina for a while. John Thompson, pride of Forest City, will join us to talk college football. That will come your way at 10:45. Normally on Mondays, he will be in the 10:25 slot. So that's the theme. And, with all of this college football, I know many of you, J-Mo included, well, you are into the juice. You want to really feel excited about the game. So you need a sports book with integrity and longevity. You need to know you're going to get paid. And I got a sports book for you that offers everything, including live betting, crazy bets, and then, of course, the more established ones, like 28 years of NFL action. And BetUS.com, let me just say this. They give you the best sign-up bonus, 200%. BetUS offers their members opportunities to cash in on all their favorites. I mentioned crazy bets, but NFL for 28 years, NBA, MLB, and a whole lot more. You go to sign up at BetUS.com, or you can call 1-800-79-BET-US. And you got to mention this. You got a promo code. It's called Sports 56 Radio. Sports 56 Radio, BetUS, where the game begins. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. They still have that summer clearance sale going on. I thought they'd moved the fall, but they haven't. So they're giving you these great deals, like $2,000 off swimming pools, $1,000 off play gyms and trampolines with free installation, 30% off in-stock sets. You've got to get to I-40 and Wooden Road. The summer clearance sale continues at Family Leisure. And our title sponsor for this hour of the program, well, it's Homer, and it's been Homer for a long time. Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. That is right at the corner of Craft Road and Highway 78, Lamar in Memphis. It's so close, and it is all about making it easy and comfortable for you to buy the newest technology. I don't think there's any better technology than Hyundai or Genesis. I just don't. And then you're not going to get a better group of people that will take care of you. Their customer retention is perfect. I mean, it's great. They always get you to come back because they will take care of you. And the simplest way I can say it is what Chris True likes to say. You're going to never pay more than sticker price on a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Other dealerships, They take advantage of the laws of supply and demand. Okay, that doesn't happen. Not at Homer Skelton Hyundai. All right, let's give you a few keys here. First off, I think Memphis, J-Mo, you must agree with me on this. Memphis is going to have to score some points because I can tell you right now, Mississippi State, with that air raid system of Mike Leach's, and with that quarterback in his third year, and Will Rogers is the real deal. I think I heard Stats Norsworthy say he has eyes in the back of his head. He does not get rattled, and he knows the system. He will take what defenses will give. They're going to score some points. No doubt. So Memphis has to score. Their offense has to be as good and as balanced as it is made out to be. They're going to have to run the ball. Part of the reason why is you got to keep the ball away from Will Rogers.
Certainly. I think if they give up 460 yards again, you can't do that again. You were lucky to win that game giving up that many yards last year. Like you said, you got to keep the ball out of their hands and limit the amount of – you got to score points because they're going to score points no matter how many yards you give up.
And you got to be good in special teams.
That's
Everybody forgets a third of the game is special teams, and guess what? Memphis had really good special teams in that game, including the infamous punt return. And frankly, the more I see it and everything else, and I thought it at the time, I thought the ball was whistled dead. I didn't think it would hold up. And much to my joy, it did. But we'll see what will happen. Turnovers are going to be critical in this game. I know that's cliche, but Memphis was not good in the turnover ratio last year, and that is one of their goals, is to certainly get more takeaways and less giveaways. And, when you're on the road, those things get magnified if you give them up. Don't kill yourself. I think the O-line is really good, but not really deep. I don't think that they plan on playing more than 7 unless injuries dictate something different. And I think they really want to go with the vast majority of the snaps with the 5 starters. They feel comfortable with those. D-line's got to get a little bit of pressure on Rodgers. How much do you gamble? Because he's so good at figuring it out. But, Matt Barnes has said he likes to pressure, and that's the way he plays it. We'll see how that works. And when you've got a stable of 5 or 6 backs, when you've got 6 or 7 receivers, maybe not a star, but some really solid guys. Javon Ivory, Gabe Rogers, Eddie Lewis, this kid that transferred from Syracuse, Skates. You've got weapons. I'm a big Rock Taylor guy. They're there. You've got to have the balance on offense. Can Brandon Thomas run the ball behind that line? If he can Ducker, the kid who was the freshman of the year in the MAC, played for Northern Illinois, can he run the ball? You've got a bunch of other guys. Asa Martin can catch. Marquavius Weaver's a good blocking back. There's enough there with balance. You're going to have balance if you are to win the game. It's interesting. The line has slipped a half a point. It's down to 15.5 is what I'm seeing at the moment. So we'll just have to wait and see. I think they'll be poised. They've been practicing with music blaring and cowbells ringing and people yelling at the line. So I think they'll be focused in that way. But it is always tough, and they'll have to use silent signals in order to get it off, because it's going to be loud in there, and it's going to be a full house, and they, as you said, there is revenge on their mind. All right, with all that in mind, it is time for us to make our picks game by game. We did it in the SEC for every team. We're only doing it for Memphis in the American Athletic Conference. I will start. And we'll rotate back and forth on this, okay? I've just given you a bunch of what I think are the keys for this game. I think Memphis will stay in this game. I think it will be close. I think that line of 15.5 is a little far-fetched. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means by either team, unless something crazy happens with turnovers or injuries or things of that nature. If either quarterback goes down, everything is off the table. But both are really excellent quarterbacks. In fact, I don't know that you'll get a much better quarterback matchup this whole weekend. You've got Rodgers, one of the best in the SEC, I think, and you've got Hennigan, who may be the best. We'll see. One of the best for sure in the American. I think it's a close game, but I think it'll be the home team. It'll be the Bulldogs who will get a measure of revenge and win at the end.
I think Mississippi State wins as well. I'm actually really big on Mississippi State this year. I think they're very underrated. I really like Will Rogers, but there's a lot of fluctuation, I suppose you could say, in Mike Leach's system and offense, and they could go from struggling one game to winning the next. So I do not put it outside the realm of possibility that Memphis covers that spread.
All right, so now you're going to go from the air raid to the triple option. That is a tough assignment, 180. Although in talking with Matt Barnes, the defensive coordinator, yesterday, he says here's the one thing about both that is similar. You know what you're getting. With the air raid, you're going to get 90% in the air, so you prepare for that. You know you're going to get 90% on the ground against Navy, so you prepare for that. And they have spent some time in the off season in this fall camp just doing a period here or there to prep for Navy, so it's not all one adjustment in 1 week, because that is part of the advantage the triple option in this day and age has. I think Memphis goes to Navy, a 2:30 game on CBS Sports Net, and I think Memphis takes care of business in this game. They have figured out this option, even though it's a little different system now. I believe they've watched enough film and they understand exactly what Niumatalolo is doing, and I think Memphis walks away with a win there.
I think Memphis wins as well. Dangerous game, though, going from air raid, the most air raid possible of the air raid, to Navy's offense is a tough combination, but I think Memphis wins.
It's interesting. Matt Barnes, by the way, the defensive coordinator, was at one time an offensive coordinator at a different school, a lower-level school, and he ran the air raid, and he did a lot of studying of Mike Leach, and he's been to Mike Leach clinics. He has a great deal of respect for Mike Leach. So it's interesting. You're right. But his air raid is different than a lot of the other passing attacks. It is unique, but Barnes, I think, should know it. He knows a little bit about Navy. I don't know if he's ever really faced that triple option of Navy's, but enough coaches, in particular Ryan Silverfield, know all about it, and they've been successful against the midshipmen the last few times. Arkansas State, first home game on September the 17th, 6 o'clock in the evening, and it was a heck of a game in Jonesboro. Butch Jones is supposed to have a better team. I think Memphis is a better team than they were a year ago. I think Memphis will win this game, and I think they'll win it by double digits.
I don't know much about Arkansas State, but I do not like Butch Jones' coach football team, so I think Memphis wins that one pretty easily.
Then the following Saturday in Memphis, North Texas comes to town. North Texas is a team that will be in the American Athletic Conference in the very near future, and Memphis should win that game. Look, these teams are a little underrated that are coming from CUSA, but I don't think they have quite the team speed Memphis has. I like this matchup. I think Memphis wins it. I think that will set them up to go 3-1. Then they'll have the easiest home game in conference all year, Temple. I don't believe in Temple at all. I think Memphis is 4-1. Those two games.
Can we say that the North Texas game is a CUSA revenge game for the Tigers after UTSA last year?
You could.
So I think they win that one, and then I agree. I think Temple is at the lower level of, to say the least, of the conference. So I think they win that one as well.
So now you're 4-1, and you've won 4 games in a row after giving Mississippi State a battle in Starkville. Here comes Houston. Here comes the team that was picked ahead of you. Here's the team that really played well. Here's the team that's got every bit of your team speed. This is home. Memphis has played well against Houston at home. This game, I think, determines just how good Memphis is going to be and if they're in the contention to be in the championship game. And I think Memphis wins at the end by a field goal. I think they go 5-1.
One of my rules of gambling is I love a home dog on a weekday. The morning show had Brandon Lang on this morning, and he said that on Friday nights last year, a home underdog is 10-3.
Wow.
Against the number. So I love Memphis in this, assuming they'd be an underdog in this game. I really don't know, but I think Friday night game against Houston, I think Memphis wins.
So Memphis is now, by my standards, we've got the same thing, right?
Right.
So that's 5 in a row. They're 5-1. Here comes a tough road game. They get an extra day because it's from a Friday to a Saturday. You got an extra day to prepare. Tough place to play. Used to be. I don't know what the crowd will be like. In Greenville, North Carolina, East Carolina has been traditionally a tough place to play. This, again, another real metric game. If you're going to win a championship in the AAC, you got to win this game. I think Memphis does win this game. They've had East Carolina's number. I think they get ECU, and I think that makes them 6-1.
I think coming off of the hot stretch here, going to East Carolina, like you said, it's a tough place to play. I think on the road in the league is a tough one. I actually have, Memphis losing this one at East Carolina.
And then a week later, still on the road, they go to New Orleans. They got to play in that little stadium with one of the worst press boxes in America, but a good place to play, and a place that really has had Memphis mystified. The Tigers have not played well in that stadium. When they used to play in the Superdome, man, they were good there. Memphis had Tulane's number. Memphis beats Tulane every year at home. When they go to this little dinky stadium, they just don't play well. I don't see that being reversed. Here's the end of the winning streak. I think they lose in New Orleans to Tulane. That would make them 6-2.
I have them losing at Tulane as well, dropping 2 in a row on the road. A tough stretch there after a long winning streak. But, yeah, I have them losing at East Carolina and at Tulane.
So you've got them 5-3. All right, here we return home. You got a bye, and then you got UCF. It's great to have a bye in that particular time period. Lick your chops from a loss and prepare for a team that, again, was picked ahead of you. Critical here if you're going to stay in the hunt to play in the championship game. UCF, new quarterback, no Dylan Gabriel. I don't think quite the team that they were. We'll have to see. I'm not as high on their coach as some are. I think Tennessee got the better end of that deal. And so I think Memphis wins that game at home with a week to prepare, and that gets them to 7-2, much in the hunt.
I agree. Off of 2 losses, the way I predict it, too, off a bye. I think a lot of things are in your favor with that schedule in this game. It's also a homecoming game for Memphis. I think they win that game as well.
So that makes them 7-2 in my book. That makes them 6-3 in yours.
That's right.
Here comes Tulsa, a team that's a little bit like Tulane. Memphis does well against Tulsa at home, seems to struggle against Tulsa on the road on occasion. I think this time Memphis has to take care of business. High off the win. It's only a 5-day rest. That's the issue. They play on a Thursday. I think they got enough in the tank to do it. Here they go. They're going to beat Tulsa at home, and I'm going to have them 8-2.
I also have this short week, though. It's a Thursday night game against Tulsa, but I do have them. I don't think Tulsa's very good. I don't know much about Tulsa. I'm just assuming I don't think they're very good, and I think they win at home.
So you now have I've got them 8-2,
7-3.
And you've got them 7-3, and then they've got, like, a lot of people do this late bye game stuff. Memphis is doing that this year, November the 19th, right before Thanksgiving. They play at home against North Alabama on a Saturday. Time to be determined. They're going to beat North Alabama.
Easy one.
Now I got them 9-2. You've got them?
8-3.
8-3. And now comes the big game in Dallas. This could determine who goes to the championship game. SMU, new coach. They got a lot of talent there. And they're paying guys $37,000 a year now to go with NIL. This is tough. I've got so many road wins for Memphis. I'm just playing the odds here. I hope this is wrong, but I got a feeling SMU steals this one late in the game. Memphis got them the last time late in the game at SMU. Memphis has played okay there, but this is a tough one here. A lot could be on the line. It is late in the year, so my mind could change as the game approaches, the way this whole thing unfolds, but just by odds, you got to figure SMU's going to win. I got Memphis 9-3.
I got a stat here from Phil Steele. Tigers have won 7 of the last 8 meetings straight up and against the spread.
Wow.
But I think they lose this one.
Oh, I thought you were going the other way.
No, I just had to give the credit for the Tigers a stat there, but I do think they lose at SMU here.
So I've got them 9-3, 6-2 in the league. I don't know if that'll be enough to get to the championship. Obviously, they'll lose a tiebreaker to SMU, and they would lose a tiebreaker to Tulane. So we'll see. But 6-2, 9-3. You've got them 8-4. What have you got them in the league?
5-3.
5-3. All right. Those are our picks. I'll let you know this portion of the show It's brought to you by the good folks at Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and the tune-up. I'm still touting the tune-up. I think that's so important for you to get to go and make sure that your system is in harmony. Because if it's efficient, it lasts longer. We know this. It lasts longer, and your MLGW bill goes down. 16-point inside tune-up. And they'll check your Freon. Then they go outside. They get all the dirt and the leaves and the grime out of that outside unit. They're going to put a little Teflon coating. They always add something on these $69 tune-ups. They'll put a little Teflon coating on the blades to protect from the hot summer sun, which is still going to be around for a couple of months. And then you know you have peace of mind. Your system's good, your bill's down, and your system's going to last longer. All you got to do is make the call, 384-3511, 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. U.S. Open last night. Did you see what happened with Nadal? The Williams sister hadn't played in 4 years. They played decently. It was somewhat close, a tie-breaking of 6-4. They lose. But now everybody's eyes are going to be on Serena. But last night, I've never seen this happen in all the years that I have watched tennis or even done tennis on television. Never before have I seen a guy, especially a guy who's making his case to be the greatest of all time. Rafael Nadal sort of stumbles. He's going for a shot, and he loses control of his racket. It hits the ground. It comes back up. It hits him in the nose, staggers him. It cuts his nose. He thought it was broken. It was not. And literally, it affected his equilibrium for about 5 minutes. Then he came out and he lost the only game in the fourth set that he was going to lose, and he ended up winning in 4 sets. Lost the first and then took the next 3. It was pretty dominating. But that was really scary. I thought for a minute he might be knocked out of the darn thing.
It's a reason not to lose your temper on the court, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe so. And one last little, 2 things, 2 quick notes. Harold Landry, remember yesterday, this before Landry, we find out tears his ACL. I picked the Titans to win that division. Can I change my mind now?
Please do.
Well, I think I have to. Do you realize this guy led the team in sacks?
He's been unbelievable since they drafted
him. And I
him.
think he played, I think I saw this stat, like he played in 92% of the team's defensive snaps last year.
That sounds right, if not more so.
That's crazy how much he plays. He's out for the year with an ACL. That's a terrible blow to the Titans. That may swing it. I think that can swing it. Now, if they were to lose their running back, oh my gosh.
And you look at the wide receiver depth, which if there is any, there is none. You're right. If they lose the running back, that's why I predict a tough season for the Titans.
Because I think Harold Landry is the same to that defense as their running back is to their running game, to their offense. It's crazy. So that is really tough. And then this Donovan Mitchell trade to the Cavs, like, I don't know what happened with the Knicks. That was really weird because everybody thought that was going to end up happening. But the Cavaliers have basically given up their future. It's 3 unprotected first-round draft picks and then 2 more first-rounders that the teams are swapping in the odd years. Like it's 23, then a swap in 24, 25 first-round pick unprotected, then a swap in 26, and then in 27, a first-round pick. Crazy. Utah. And they're gonna get rid of Conley and Bogdanovich. And it's gonna be a long year in Utah. I hope Conley ends up at a good place.
I love Colin Sexton too, a guy that's a good scorer, but a really good defender. I think it was more contractual why they gave him up, but I think Utah got a really good haul back for Donovan Mitchell.
We'll switch gears here and talk high school football. A lot of good games this week. Glenn Rogers Jr. is going to join us here in a minute. We'll ask him about the Tigers and the Bullies as well. It's time for the weekend. That means it is time for you to stock up, and you know where to go. That's my friend Eddie Connor, Spirit Shop, right in the heart of East Memphis. So easy to get to. Poplar and St. Nick. That's 4848 Poplar. It's that little log cabin right down from Clark Tower. You've seen it a million times. It's not so little when you go in. You get an education when you go in there, if you want. Eddie Connor will tell you about all the valuable properties products, greatest bourbons, greatest vodkas or tequilas, or the up-and-coming wines. He'll give you the mid-range ones. He'll tell you about the up-and-comers that are really bargains now that could be worthy of something. And if you want something really cheap, he'll point you in that direction too. They are full service. They have accessories, all the local beers, everything you want at the Spirit Shop at Poplar and St. Nick. We pause for a second. We talk high school football with the coach, Glenn Rogers Jr., in just a minute.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Choate's is offering some amazing specials for this month only. If you're considering upgrading your furnace before the cold weather comes, Choate's is offering $1,000 off a new Carrier furnace. If you don't need a new furnace, Choate's is now offering its early bird $60 furnace tune-up. This 22-point tune-up includes a free carbon monoxide test and heat exchanger inspection. And Choate's is your indoor air quality expert. For the best quality air for you and your family, it's recommended to have your air ducts cleaned every 8 years. This month only, Choate's will install a free UV light system when you get your air ducts cleaned, a $500 value. Call us at 347-8086 to take advantage of these amazing deals. So, turn to the experts with Choate's, and remember, let our family serve your family.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
So many football games last night, like Purdue, Penn State, West Virginia, back and forth, really volatile. If you've been following the real estate market like Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark Spensdorf has, it's the same thing. It's always changing. The inventory increasing, the interest rates fluctuating, buyers are still picky. Selling a home today can be slightly more challenging than it has ever been before, but don't think you shouldn't take advantage of the current market conditions. When people aren't calling Sheldon the worst golfer in town or Mr. Three Putt, they say when you want the job done, call the guy that studies it all. Call Sheldon. He has a highly successful strategic marketing program that he's developed over many years that is tailored to your needs and to your desires. People call Sheldon for advice. He's always happy just to talk with you and give you his highly experienced opinion, and everything is in confidence. So if you're thinking of selling your home or even buying one, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers. Make sure Sheldon is one of them. It's so simple. Call 483-0546. You want to learn more? Go to memphisrelocate.com. And as he always says, go Tigers. Call Sheldon. Once again, 483-0546. Former Tiger, former CFL All-Star, current coach forever. That would be our friend Glenn Rogers Jr., who joins us. Now, tough one last week for you guys, though, huh? I mean, high school football seems, especially in the private sector, to be very balanced this year. Good morning.
Good morning, Dave, and good morning, all our listeners. And, you know, you're right, Dave. Man, it was a bitter pill to swallow last week. But I'll tell you, I've said this before. I think Gene Robinson is one of the up-and-coming bright young coaches in this area in the country. He's got outstanding staff and a lot of good athletes. And it was a hard-fought defensive battle. I was so proud of our kids on defense. And offense as well. The offense, I think, played great. The special teams came back and bit us. And, Gene, with those great athletes, they returned 2 kickoffs for touchdowns on us. And, special teams is a part of the game.
All right. Let's get to this week's game. Then I want to talk to you a little bit about playing in Starkville and what that game is going to be like with the Bullies and the Tigers, your alma mater. But let's start with two teams that you've seen. It's the game of the week in my estimation. It's Germantown at Whitehaven. You have seen Whitehaven in scrimmages. You played Germantown. We just talked about that. Whitehaven is potent in their first couple of games. They're averaging 47 points a game. Germantown has only given up 16 points in 2 games, and both of those were against really good competition. They got this kid, John Morrow, who is so outstanding. How do you break this one down?
I tell you, Dave, you look at Germantown's schedule. Week 0, Christian Brothers. Week 1, us. And now Whitehaven. And I told Gene Cern, I said, man, you're going to the gauntlet early. And so Saul Bears always, been one of the top coaches in his area since he took over the Whitehaven. Does a tremendous job with his kids, his staff.
Hey, Glenn, I'm going to put you on hold for just a second. We got to get you into a better position as you start to break up. We couldn't really follow that conversation as well as I would like. So let's see if we can't set you up in a better spot on your cell phone. It gives me a chance to remind everybody you're playing golf this week. I got a place for you to go. It's Miramichi in Woodstock, 12 minutes north of downtown. You know it's 330 acres of beauty, 7,400 yards of competitive golf. Or I played at 6,300. You can go up to 5,000. They got plenty of tee boxes to make it great for you. And know that every time you go, you've got practice facilities. You've got unlimited range balls. It's part of the greens fee. You've got a cart, and you've just got a great setting. It's the full golf experience. Then afterwards, you got the terrace, which now that the weather's cooled down a little bit, there's nothing better than having a cold one on that terrace, full-service bar, football playing on the screens. Get yourself a hamburger. Get yourself a hot dog. They've got great turkey sandwiches. Look out at the expanse. See the golf course. See the ponds. See the fountain. See the sky. It's the best view in all of Shelby County. I promise you, you will love the whole experience. Just 12 minutes north of downtown in Woodstock. Go see my friends at Miramichi. Let's see if we haven't figured this out with Glenn. And Glenn, you there?
Yes, sir, Dave. I'm here.
Much better. Yes.
100,
good. 100 times better. All right. So you were talking about
Rodney.
and about how crazy the Germantown schedule has been. It's so tough.
Yeah, I mean, Christian Brothers in week 0, us in week 1, and now Whitehaven. I told Gene he's getting the gauntlet early, and Rodney Salisbury has always been a top coach, great talent. Whitehaven's got probably the biggest draw of talent from any team, any high school in this city, with 4 middle schools around them. And this is going to be a ball game I would love to see because I know it's a lot of good athletes. Both teams are big and physical up front on the defensive line, and Gene offensively, I think, is probably get a nod to him up front offensively because he got some big physical guys up front. But I tell you, when you think about athlete for athlete across the board, Dave, I get a nod to Germantown. They got the Morrow kid. He can go to running back and wide receiver. He got 2 good running backs in the backfield already. And then Gene has got 2 wide receivers on the outside. If they make you miss, they got the potential to go to the house. And Rodney's got a speedster as well on the outside, a track kid that can burn you. But, Gene, I think, just got enough firepower to just keep sending guys at you. And, Germantown won a closer last year, 14-13. It's going to be a tight ball game. I'm going to get a nod to Germantown because I think Whitehaven just hasn't played the competition that Germantown has played so far.
Is Rodney Salisbury's program back to the way it was pre-COVID?
I think he's getting there. I don't think Rodney would tell you they're back to where they want to be. I think any coach would tell you that. To me, the program has probably benefited from COVID. It's probably been Germantown. And the reason why I say that, Gene has did an excellent job. It looked like his program hadn't really missed a beat because he came in right when COVID hit. And it looked like he just got off to a great start. A bunch of kids out in his program, and you can tell they're getting coached up.
All right, let's move on to another great one. Arlington at Bartlett. Both teams have already played good competition, so they're battle-tested.
Yeah, and Bartlett's coming off a tough loss down in Hoover. Hoover's always been a national powerhouse. They went down there and got thumped. But I said Bartlett's going to rebound and get a victory tonight. They got a great team, quarterback that's, Mr. Everything. He's got a lot of offers, and I just think that Bartlett get back on the winning streak tonight against an Arlington opponent.
All right, White Station is at Collierville. White Station upset Central in the Major Right Bowl. I was pretty impressed with that. And then there's the Dragons. Aiden Glover has outscored the opponents 89-0. He's quite the quarterback. Collierville's at home. They got quite the stadium. I'm sure it'll be a great atmosphere. This one should be a dandy.
Absolutely, Dave. You said it best. Big upset last week at White Station, the Major Right Bowl. I said it last week. I thought Major would go in there and get them. But kudos to White Station. Jeff Sawyer, one of my former teammates, D coordinator at White Station. I think they'll go in tonight in a hostile environment. Joe Riccone, another former Tiger. And like you said, Aiden Glover is a special talent. He's tall. He's 6'3.5", 6'4". He's 200 pounds. He's a legit dual threat quarterback. He's throwing to the number one rated receiver in his class, Joakim Dotson. And, Joe Riccone at Collierville got a lot of pieces they can send at you.
Yep.
I just think White Station to get overwhelmed tonight.
You say that again?
I think White Station to get overwhelmed tonight at Collierville.
Overwhelmed. Okay, I thought you said they were going to win. That would have been a major upset
again. I think they'll get overwhelmed tonight.
Okay. Houston at Cordova. Houston has quite the offense, but they turned the ball over 4 times last week. Does Cordova at home have a chance? Yeah,
and Keith Settler, another former Tigers, getting Cordova back to respectability. And Houston's got to be reeling from that tough loss last week to Briarcrest. Had that game in the bag, and turnovers will kill you. Briarcrest came back, with Max Carroll and Coach Stewart. They kept fighting to the end and pulled out a victory at Houston. I think Houston tonight will get a win. I think it'll be a tough, hard-nosed ball game, but I think Houston has probably learned their lessons from last week. They've probably been working a lot of ball security drills. I think Houston gets the win tonight.
Briarcrest is at Brentwood. Briarcrest's defense is outstanding. They may be forced to go with a backup quarterback, however, and we know Brentwood is Brentwood. How do you view this one?
Well, I tell you, Dave, anytime you're going up the road to Nashville and, against Brentwood and Ainsworth and Father Ryan and then, Chattanooga, Baylor, McCall, and Chattanooga, it's a different animal. And what I mean by that is the Titans are in Nashville. Football is king up there. Memphis, we all know it's the Grizzlies basketball town, but Nashville is taking football to another level, and even Chattanooga. And so it's going to be a tough place to get a win. I think Briarcrest early will keep it close, but I think Brentwood, in the end, will pull out a victory. Football, like I said, Nashville and Eastern Tennessee, it's real serious business when you go up the road. Football in East Tennessee.
All right, last high school game, here you go. Same thing. Christian Brothers, who put up 51 points on Sheffield after their early loss to Germantown, and I think probably many thought the Brothers were the favorites in that game. Now they face, if they're going to be a factor in the private sector here in the state, they got to put up a statement game. And Ensworth, I'm not sure they're quite as good as they normally are, but they are Ensworth. Greatest facilities of any high school, I think, in the state, including your MUS or Christian Brothers. This is one heck of a game. How do you break this one down, my friend?
Yeah, I tell you, Dave, Christian Brothers are going to have a fighting chance to me. I think Coach McDaniel will pound the ball on the inside. Ainsworth has 2 big-time receivers. Both of those guys are 6'3" or better. One is, I think, is committed to Kentucky. But I'll tell you one thing. If Christian Brothers can keep the ball on the ground and pound the ball and control the offense and control the clock, rather, I think Christian Brothers can pull off the upset. Ainsworth is going to go up top. You got to defend the deep ball. And if the Christian Brothers can defend the deep ball, they'll come out of there with a win tonight. But it's going to be a real interesting game if Christian Brothers can keep that ball on the ground and conserve the clock and control the game with the ground control.
In essence, so make sure you stop the deep threat, and then you've got to run the ball.
You have to run the ball because Ainsworth can flip the switch at any time with those 2 big-time receivers.
That may be the recipe for the University of Memphis. Let's talk a little bit about the Tigers, your alma mater, at Mississippi State. I'm pretty sure they played them every year you were there. Did you play in Starkville?
We played in Starkville, Dave, my junior year. They beat us. when I tell you, I heard all those cowbells ringing all night long, even when on the bus trip back to Memphis. It's a real tough, hostile environment. I tell you, I've been very impressed with Seth Hennigan, the couple of practices I've seen this preseason. The run game looks formidable. My concern with Memphis, and when Isaac Bruce was in town, we both said this at the same time. Didn't see a receiver that really scared me as a defensive back, a former defensive back. When I look at receivers, Anthony Miller, Calvin Austin, I'm looking at guys that can scare the life out of you running by you. I didn't see that any harder this preseason. Maybe there's some guys banged up. But with a team like State, you're going to have to scare them to death on the passing game. I think they're going to be too vulnerable just to try to pound the ball all night. I think we go down there and make it a close ball game, but I think State, in the end, will get us with the beats they got up front to rotating the guys in and out.
He is Glenn Rogers Jr., former Tiger, current assistant coach at MUS, joining us every week for years. We always love your insight. We appreciate it. You enjoy your weekend, and we will chat next Friday.
Absolutely, David. Look, hopefully the Tigers can go down there and pull up those. Go Tigers, go.
There you go. That is Glenn Rogers Jr., brought to you in part by the good folks at Grind City. That's local. And they've got the best beers going. I love this Poppy's Pils, light, crisp, refreshing, the Pilsner that they say is ultra crushable. And it's always fun when you're having a product that's made in Memphis. You can get it everywhere, like Eddie Connor's Spirit Shop. You can buy it there. Now, it is available in either 6-packs or 15-packs. So if you're planning on watching a lot of college football this weekend, maybe you're even going to a tailgate party down in Starkville or in the Grove, I'd go for the 15-pack of Poppy's Pils. Best enjoyed ice cold. It will be warm this weekend. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. From Grind City Brewing, it's just what the doctor ordered, that great Pilsner. From those fine folks on the river, that's Grind City's Poppy's Pils. Back in a minute to Atlanta we go, and our coach, John Thompson, on the weekend in college football. He comes your way in just a minute.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Memphis Barbecue Supply wants to help you kick off Labor Day weekend. Be the envy of your neighborhood with some of the best barbecue supplies. Memphis Barbecue Supply carries over 280 different barbecue rubs, sauces, glazes, and injections to help you add more flavor to that Labor Day barbecue. Memphis Barbecue Supply carries the largest selection of charcoal and smoking wood in the Mid-South. Over 10 different flavors of wood chips, chunks, mini logs, and logs. Need charcoal? Memphis Barbecue Supply typically carries 4,000 pounds of premium lump and briquette charcoal in stock. Do you have a pellet grill? Memphis Barbecue Supply has you taken care of. 9 different varieties of wood pellets to provide not only the heat, but also that perfect flavor. So let Memphis Barbecue Supply help you make the perfect selection to kick off your Labor Day weekend. Memphis Barbecue Supply is located at 7041 Stage Road in Memphis, or you can order online at mbbqsupply.com. Follow them on all the social media platforms for recipes, new products, and barbecue news.
Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique, fun bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events to let you get more action out of every game day. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started and be sure to sign up with promo code CASH so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code CASH. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. the rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. 5 Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 5 Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5 Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Oh, I am so excited. The pride of Forest City, defensive coordinator extraordinaire, former head coach at East Carolina, our defensive coordinator, our coach, John Thompson. Now, look, we spare no expense at this station. This cost us a fortune to lure Thompson out of retirement, but we are just so happy to have you, Coach.
You are crazy, Wolo. Great, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it, man. I'm excited about it. This is I really appreciate you. And this is looking forward to this and having fun.
I just some quick thoughts from last night. I'm sure you watched a little bit.
Yeah.
The backyard brawl, boy, both those quarterbacks, Daniels and Slovis, are really good. That was a great game. I'm glad that rivalry is back. Purdue, oh my gosh, they had that game won if they managed the clock. That's why you've got to have balance in college football, right?
Well, you have to. You've got to. But you know what really showed up to me in all those games, and I was flipping all around. Tennessee looked really good. But just the speed of the game, the first game of the year, the speed of the game, and tackling I thought was horrendous. But you know, coaches are timid in the off season now. In fall camp, it used to be brutal, but you just don't tackle out in the open field, and everybody's throwing the ball around, and that showed up. That showed up a lot through the game, and you know, you just got to play some games till you get better until coaches say, you know what, and I understand it because the limitations, but you can't learn to tackle until you tackle. And if you don't do it in practice, you got to learn to do it in a game. And I thought that's there and clock management. I that was astounding with clock management late in the game.
Why do you think you use the word timid? Why are they that way now? Is it because it's 20-hour limitations? Is it because we're bigger and stronger and we're worried about injuries? Is it because we're worried about the transfer portal?
Well, I think we're bigger, stronger, and worried about injury. And I don't know. I look at it from the defensive side that you can. You've got to be able to teach toughness. You've got to be able to teach tackling, and as I said, the only way you can do it, you've got to do it, and you've got to come up with drills. You've got to come up with safe drills. But to put a guy in the open field and with the ball being thrown like it is now, and just throwing it out there and having it with a wide receiver or a back one-on-one with a linebacker or a defensive back, they got to learn to tackle, and they got to get to the ball, and that's where you get legs tangled up. And I see that can cause injury, but you know, the game has changed in that way. And I mean, I'm watching right now. I'm watching a replay of Tennessee and Ball State, and I see three missed tackles by Tennessee, who played real well, but the ball's just thrown down there in the middle of the field, and safety misses it, and another corner misses it, and the second safety comes in. So that just happens, and you can't simulate that because you don't have the depth. You can't put a second teamer in there because he's one play away from starting as a backup wide receiver. So you get the talent level drops off so much as you practice. I mean, I've said this for a long time. I mean, college football is about the only game that there is where you don't have a scrimmage game, or where you don't have a game that doesn't count. basketball
Right.
does it, baseball, everybody. So I think that shows that's going to show up. It's going to show up tonight. Games that are on tonight. Certainly it's going to show up Saturday and Sunday in those games also.
Man, and we got so many big games, and I want to get to Ohio State Notre Dame because I know you're really keen on watching that one, but I want to go back just for a second to Tennessee, and you're watching it right now, and that Heupel system. I knew once he got his guys, and who knew Hooker was going to be as good as he is, but I knew once he got his guys in there, they were going to be prolific. 59 on Ball State. All right, that's – that might not be as impressive. Who knows? Because it's the first game. But I think that's like the fifth or sixth game in a row that the Vols have put up in the 40s. This is for real.
They're going so fast. The tempo, and that wore down, and it got to them early. It surprised Ball State early, and then now it's starting to wear them down. I'm in just early in the second quarter, but I saw the game last night. Yeah, it wears those guys down. And hey, Heupel is a great coach. I mean, he proved it, at Central Florida, and even when he was at Oklahoma as a player, he was a good player. But this system, and he gets his guys in there, the way the quarterback's playing. I think the Vols, I think they're clearly right now. I think they're the second best team in the East.
Wow, Georgia obviously number one.
No question. No question right now that I think Georgia is obviously the best team in the East, but I think Tennessee is obviously the second best team in the East. So who knows what's going to happen?
That Tennessee-Kentucky game could go a long way at determining who really is number two.
Absolutely. I think Kentucky it's kind of, I don't know, it's jumbled up in the West. I'm not sure who. I think Alabama's the best in the West, but in the East, it's pretty clear to me. Georgia, then Tennessee, then Kentucky, Florida, South Carolina, Mizzou, and Vandy. Even though Vandy's on a tremendous high right now, they didn't enjoy it. In the West, I mean, Alabama is clearly, in my opinion, the best team in the West, but I'm not sure who's second or third. I think it could be A&M, and it could be Arkansas. I think Arkansas is set to really have a good year. Then after those, fourth and fifth could be Ole Miss or LSU, and at the bottom, sixth and seventh, I got Auburn and Mississippi State. So anybody, it's clear at the top, but it's a little bit cloudy after that.
By betting odds, Alabama is the biggest favorite in years to win the national championship, which kind of took me by surprise. So let me ask you this hard question. Do you think Georgia and Alabama show up to play each other in the SEC championship game, both 12-0?
You know what? I do. I think both of those guys, and if this, I mean, come on, man. We still got 12 games, 13 games counting the SEC championship to play. And when, believe me, in dealing with 19, 20, 21-year-old guys, when you say betting odds, you're crazy when you start betting on those guys. But I think both of them get to the playoff, and I'm not sure that we don't have two Big Ten teams in the playoff also. Ohio State is loaded, and I kind of got Michigan and Utah possibly as the fourth team. I think Michigan has a chemistry level and some things going on there that are really, really good and really talented. And Utah may be the only team you can take from the West. You could move them in the Southeast, and they'd fit right in. So I think Utah is a very good team, and what a tough opening for our boy Billy Napier at Florida. But
so you like Utah?
Be a tough one. Excuse me?
You like Utah then?
I think so. They're better. They're better than Florida, and they're going in the swamp and doing that. But I think Kyle Whittingham is one of the best coaches in the country. I think Utah goes in there and wins the game tomorrow.
Wow. Okay. How about Ohio State and Notre Dame? That is probably the premier matchup that's left.
Well, it's huge, obviously, for both. And, hey, I've been, we won the state championship here a couple of years ago, and I've been trying to tell everybody that it was coaching. But when you have ex players that are starting at linebacker on both teams, we got a guy named Steele Chambers. How about that name? He starts for Ohio State, and J.D. Bertrand starts for Notre Dame. He's the captain at Notre Dame. So that tells you why we won the state championship. People obviously that know me knew it wasn't coaching, but we got good players. So that's interesting. But it's I don't know. Ohio State I think wins the game. They're just too talented. It's a real tough opener for Marcus Freeman, but C.J. Stroud, the quarterback at Ohio State, just too consistent. They're playing in the horseshoe, and I don't know. I got a lot of respect for Jim Knowles, who is now the defensive coordinator of Ohio State. It just came from Okie State. You think Derek Mason is feeling very good today with all the points that he gave up last night? So anyway, I'll take Ohio State in a close one, but a great game for people that are just hung up on the SEC. That's going to be a good, tough, physical football game.
I know you are high on Arkansas. They got a tough one with Cincinnati, a team that lost their quarterback, lost their best defensive player. They got a lot back, though, and they're going to play the Hogs in Fayetteville, which makes it tough. How do you view that one?
I think that's going to be a really good game early, but I think Arkansas and their huge offensive line. It's unbelievable the size of their offensive line, and KJ Jefferson can be the difference in running and throwing the football. I mean, he's a definite dual threat, and I think since he probably gets caught in between, they're a mixture of a three-man front, a lot of three-man front and four-man. They lost like 6 guys on defense that got drafted last year. They just don't know. I studied their defense, and I've got a couple of friends on their staff. They don't, when a coach tells you they're not sure, they don't know how they're going to be, then you kind of read through that like they're a little bit nervous. But they do, as you said, they got to replace Ritter or DeRitter, whatever's a quarterback. And I think Arkansas pulls away and in the second half and maybe wins this game pretty much. I think they're 5-6 point favorite, but I think they win by at least a couple of scores or more. Just they wear them down, and since he is not able to handle Arkansas's running game and KJ Jefferson, so I'll take the Hogs big.
Last game for John Thompson, and that's Memphis at Mississippi State. First time they played in Starkville in 10 years.
We went to when I was there. I was thinking about it. We went there when I was there in '99 and played them close. They got us, but we played them close. That may have been almost our second game after Ole Miss beat us in that shootout 3-0.
Yeah.
In the Liberty Bowl.
Right.
But I think in this game, whatever secondary keeps the ball in front of them and tackles. Last year. My goodness, if State has to throw the ball 67 times again, they're not going to win. They won't win the game. But Memphis has got to play very, very good. They're young. I don't think Memphis has an idea of what kind of team they have with all the youth that they have. Rogers can be a dominant quarterback at times. Hennigan's got to play well. He's got to play flawless. And that can be a loud place.
Sure can.
Start ringing those darn cowbells down there, and it'll be a test. Memphis has got to go through a little galvanizing, I think. And Mississippi State, just too much experience right now. I think Mississippi State wins that one, and maybe by a couple of scores.
He's our coach. That's John Thompson. Thank you so much. Normally, we will chat with you Mondays throughout the college football season at 10:25 Central. We'll do that again on Monday, and we'll figure out a little bit more about the way this season is going to go.
There you go. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Day.
So glad to have you back, John. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, buddy.
That is our coach. That is John Thompson. He's brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Team. That's the way they do it. They have a different sort of style. It's collaborative. Yes, sir. They get to know you. They sit down and they collaborate with you. They find out your needs, what your budget might be, what your family's all about. And then they'll find the right house program for you, auto and life insurance. If you're into a mid to small size business, you're in charge. They're specialists with commercial insurance for those smaller companies. They get to know your product. They get to know what your assets are. They figure out what's the most important thing to protect and how it forecasts out. And believe me, they got a lot of different options. They get to know you, and then they figure it all out for you. Big Tiger fans, I know he's going to Navy, Matt is. 901-386-GER, that's 4777. They do that, GER, because they love the Tigers. 901-386-4777. Get protected the right way with the Eflin Insurance Team. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll recap on Monday.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around